They're trying to give him some sugary something, but the first, almost the first one, second one.
He's got like a lung
Ambrose.
going on.
Ambrose.
Mike, you might want to go there.
He's sitting there almost.
If he's vomiting.
Yeah, vomiting.
Concussion, yeah, okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
to the rest of
He'll live.
I feel for him, but I feel better somebody got hurt. I mean, you can't have 10 fights and nobody get hurt. And and a few of you evolved or devolved down to street fighting, which is the natural thing. Okay, we had a couple of Marcus of Queensberry, guys, which normally doesn't get the job done. But what's the takeaway from the fighting? Yes, sir. And here we got Sugar Ray Leonard, 40 pounds on top of Sugar Ray Leonard. Okay, go ahead.
Once you get the first punch out, the nerves are gone. It's just the build up is before you start.
Correct. And it's going to be the same when we talk about when you go into somebody's office. And I used to, first of all, dry your hands. So far, not everybody's hand that I shook so far is wet, but almost everybody's hand that I shook so far is wet. And it's, so you dry your hands before you go in and meet with these people. And I used to focus on something on the desk. Let's say I'm talking to him. If I'm in his office, I'd focus on either his tie, something on the desk. Like I'm looking at his eyes, but I'm not. Because right now I'm not looking at your eyes, I'm looking at the top of your tie. But it looks the same. And these are tricks, tips, presentation tips. Seriously, the Dale Carnegie sales course, I already told you the Wolf Skies stuff's pretty good. I can tell you categorically, Dan Locke's stuff is terrific. Brian's stuff is terrific. But Dale Carnegie has been doing this for 75 years. And Warren Buffett and I only have one thing in common. We're both graduates of the Dale Carnegie sales course. He went in the early 60s because he couldn't give a piece of ass away in a lumber camp. Couldn't sell anything. And I went just to see when I was with, that time I was with Payne Weber, I went to see what the sales training was for, not the competition, because sales training in the 70s in Wall Street was almost unheard of. They gave you, okay, I want you to cold call every building more than 10 stories on wall. Well, every building's higher than 12 stories, 10 stories. How is he?
He's all right. He reckons his blood sugar's better just talk. If he goes in and out of consciousness, just talking.
Okay.
He starts to feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what else about the fighting? Yes, sir.
When you get punched in the face, it pisses you off.
Some of you got more pissed off than others. Of course, some of you got clocked better than others. I only saw 3. I'm not demeaning anything you guys did. I only saw 3 punches. 3. One was by accident. One was by accident. And 2 were more or less on purpose. But see, in a 3-minute, let's say going to 5 rounds, the first minute or 2, you're feeling around how long his reach is. But when you only got 1 minute, you go hell-bent. Well, you guys, most of you went hell-bent for leather. Okay? What else about boxing? Or we call it boxing. I mean, real boxers wouldn't call it boxing, but we call it boxing. Yes, sir.
The look on the guy's face when they.
Yeah. Well, a couple of you. One of you actually said it in the last fight. Oh, you got me that time. I forget who it was. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. But I can just see you in a bar in Texas, in El Paso. I can just see your body squatted over there, he looked like he's been in a few ballroom brawls. Now that's probably just because he's Hispanic, but because we're all just brown trash, and we fight and stab each other and shit like that. A lot of people believe that. For real. Some of that's true, but okay, what else about the boxing? Yes, sir.
Watching it, reading about it, nothing's the same as when you do it.
And amen to that, and it's going to be the same when you implement the templates. You've heard a lot of people say, it's there, just read, you know. But depending on your level of self-sabotaging, you know, and you got to, just because you have the templates, you got to practice them. You've got to tape yourself and see what you sound like. Film yourself. That dog Driller, that famous Great Dane in that picture of mine, if he used to sit there and listen to me just like he's in that picture. If I was losing his attention, he'd go down on all fours. And if I really lost his attention, he'd cross his paws and go like this. Okay? But I used to give talks to that Great Dane. And, but I practiced. And I was a good speaker when I was doing that. Now I'm a lot better than good, you know. But you only have to get 5%, guys. 1%. The communication skills, your gift to gab, as the Irish would say. And Sally says, my gift to bullshit. Because I can talk about anything for 10 hours. Anything for 10 hours. So when I get up and talk to the university for 2 or 3 hours, it's like I'm asleep because it's not work for me. It's my passion. You know, just like I've said that her passion is to help old people. Anyway, maybe it is. Okay, I'll be with her if it is. But the point is that you want to make this not work. As soon as you make $1 million, whatever the number is, the bottom threshold, whatever that is, when you see it in your account, I don't know what it is. It's different numbers to different people. You can't wait to put more zeros. You can't wait to put more numbers on. You can't wait. You know, you can't wait. And that's when it's not only fun, it's the most lucrative. The longer you stay focused, the kids in this room, the guys and the one gal that stay focused the longest will make the most money. Irrespective of what field you're in. You stay laser beam focused and you lead from the front and you become like, I don't want to say a little Hitler or shit like that, but you're an authoritarian. Some of you, you're more aggressive in the ring than you are in talking. Think.
It's like Michael Jackson, he'd talk
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah, I mean, just think of that, and you guys know who I'm talking about. You're more aggressive in the ring because even though that's not your natural environment, it isn't. It's more natural than in here. Because we're talking about shit, busting your bubble, you know, your lack of self-esteem, and that there you feel, even though that's not your comfort zone, it's more of your comfort zone than in here. When I'm grilling you and, you know, and you're hearing these kids that are successful that are half your age, you know, but you take that knowledge and you use it, and like Peter and Jason and all these guys, and we have a lot of them, and you'll be fine. What else about the fighting? Yes, sir.
It feels awesome.
Yeah, it feels even better when you're hitting somebody you don't like. I'm told that. And it's even better when you hit them with a brick. Because where I come from, you beat them until they didn't move. You know, this thing, I've had enough shit that I never heard. That may have happened where I come from, but I never saw it in my life. I've had enough. You know how they say in the movie, I've had enough? You had enough because your brains I can see your brains through your forehead. That's when you had enough. But I mean, just think about it. The guy, and not just because you were better in the ring, you're more aggressive in the ring than you are in life.
Self-preservation.
Exactly. Thank you.
Instinct.
And that's why if I put a gun to your kid, even the kid that you hated, the kids, of course, you all love them the same, remember? You put a kid to your little baby's, little girl's head, you got 50 grand. You close a deal in 90 days or I blow her fucking brains out. Guess what? Now, I can do that to your wife. Fuck, you can get another wife. Okay? And after I've told you what your parents did, you probably say you can shoot them too. but I'm soft on moms. I don't like to shoot moms. That's because, I have guilt. One of the only two things have guilt about is that I told my mother, you're not going to fucking die, and she's dead in the morning. There's no way I can go back on that. There's no way I can make that up, okay? So I just shine it on and move on. But it is one of my regrets. Okay, what else? Anything else about the boxing? Yes, sir.
Whether you do good or bad, you feel like you'll be better the next time you.
And everybody that boxed, even the ones that boxed poorly, feel better about themselves right now. Some of them wish that they had boxed better. I think most of you do, maybe all of you. But the fact is that and it's nothing against the guys that didn't box. That's not the point. But the point is that you feel, it's like if you come back from a vacation Saturday night and I didn't gain 5 pounds, I feel good about myself because I ate 82 million calories. And I should have gained 5 pounds, but I only gained 4.5, so I make a big deal about it, okay? You feel better about yourself. And the more you make calls, the more you see, these guys making the process work isn't you. When it's you, see, these are statistics. When it happens to you, it's real. And until you make it happen, it's not the same. It's not the same. But when you make it happen, and it's like deja vu, fuck, it's all opening up, and everybody, like Peña said it was, then it's easier to charge forward. It's easier to run towards that gunfire, the metaphorically speaking, that gunfire, and do the deal. But we only do one round, that's enough, but it proves the point. It proves the point. And tonight, who's my 5:30? 6:30. Tonight we eat in the pavilion. Tonight is fish and chip night. We eat in the pavilion. Yeah, in that room over there. The board, the chairman. Remember I told you I wasn't finished. Okay. Executive summary you sent out. 3 or 4 people have responded back to you. Okay. Then when they respond back to you, then as I've said, then you go back and you really do more due diligence on Google about them. And you, let's say the name is John Jones, you put John Jones lawsuit and hit the send button. And when there's 9 pages of lawsuits, I don't care if he won them or he didn't win them. Next. Just next. And I already told you about the unindicted co-conspirator was all bullshit. You just had a good lawyer. So now you've done the due diligence, and let's see, there's 2 of the 3 that have responded back to you that you think are dynamite, and 1 is kind of iffy. You respond to all 3 of them back, because after you meet the 2 that look dynamite to you, they may not look dynamite in person. They may not sound dynamite in person. And the iffy guy is the guy that really is the good guy, but you've still kept contact with him. When they're serious, they come to you. When they're serious, they come to you. Again, as she said, you don't have big money to run around the country, interviewing people. I occasionally tell the kids, well, okay, you're in St. Louis. You're going to go to Dallas because that's central for the 5 or 6 people you're going to interview. You're going to get a room, and you're going to interview them there. That if you're going to Dallas, but you're not making special trips, because remember, allegedly you don't even have money to travel. Now, I know some of you have money to travel, but we want to see, it's a doofus test. We want to see how committed they are to your idea. And the people with the most energy are going to get the most appointments. Once you talk to them, it's hard to show energy on an email. But I mean, energy, the first time you talk to them, they're going to see the energy, and they want to be part of the energy. When we were talking about, again, the lady, she's got a lot of energy. It's obvious. And not everybody said yes to her, but almost everybody said yes to her. The fact that she's has that profession in the medical area of the elderly helps. It helps. Yes, sir.
You sent a email, I think, about the guy Wolf from Wall Street, and he has an excellent video on how to sound energetic on.
Okay, well, fine. I said he sounds pretty good. I didn't have that wasn't one of my challenges, having to sound energetic. Normally, I had to be toned down because I, jump around and. But I was energetic. But one of the things that gave me the energy is I knew every deal I closed was like $6 million in my pocket. It's easy to get excited about that. Now $6 million, I probably wouldn't take a shit for $6 million now. But back then, it was a big fucking deal to me. And it started off with less, in fact. By the way, the reason, why do 60% of the people that have lung cancer smoke again?
Because they don't have anything to lose.
Doc?
Because they've got...
This is a lung, a clean lung, and a cancer lung.
That's what Dan Locke said last night. The strongest force in us is to maintain our self-identity. So I've told people they've got lung cancer, and then the next day they're outside smoking again. Or that day they're at the smoke, and then every morning you go past them, they're smoking outside. Well, so they're maintaining their self-identity.
Okay, but I'm telling you, your self-identity got you here, but you don't want your self-identity moving forward. You want a new self-identity. You had enough gumption, grit, whatever the word, tenacity, coupled with some money that you begged, borrowed, hopefully didn't steal, to get here. But you're leaving that identity like an old suit outside, and that's not you anymore. Even the people that will utilize QLA the least get rich. Even the people that utilize QLA the least get rich. And they use it in, it just as Ozone was saying about his internship in his university. His relationship will never be the same with the professors, students, and the people that he worked for, the intern. It'd never be the same. He interned at the same place last year, and then this year they thought it was a Martian, or where the fuck this kid come from? And he's a mild mannered. I mean, he's no big, rough and tough alpha male. But you will never take shit, verbally shit the same. See, most of you don't even know when people are insulting you with verbal shit because you're so used to it. It's become run of the mill. It's like the word nice. Okay? I knew when I was a kid, when my mother wanted to set me up with a nice girl, that's the last fucking thing I wanted. I wanted a girl that could suck the chrome off a trailer hitch over and over and over. Not a nice girl. Yes, Doc?
With that lion analogy, which we watched last night, the lion was getting bitten, fucking pestered, but only when he decided to fucking do something, he did it. So it's not.
Yeah, we all have. Even a mouse will fight if you back it in a corner.
But it's not wise to fight every time.
No, it's not wise to fight. But see, I know some of the regrets that you guys have had. One is I wish that I'd stood up to the guy that bullied in the 11th grade, who bullied me from the 7th grade to the 11th grade. The only reason they got off the 11th grade because the guy moved. Almost everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people in this room can relate to that. Or your dad who used to beat your mother, and then when you got big enough, you try to keep your dad from beating him up. I mean, there are things in our life where we wish that we had stepped into the breach and taken the heat. You can't go back, Those kind of instances are prevalent in almost everybody, not just this group, but almost everybody. That's why we have regrets. If we were as smart when we were 20 as when we're 100, obviously, we make other mistakes. I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes when I'm 100, but they're not the same. And right now, some of the things that you've done that have been self-sabotaging, you don't even know that they were self-sabotaging. For example, one of the templates when the bank, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow, they're interviewing the bank, and the bank, one of the checklists is there any way that this credit could go sour, or is this, meaning loan, credit loan, is there any way that this loan could go sideways, meaning default? Is there any way that, and then they sit and wait for your answer. And the answer is, under no fucking circumstances can this credit not be paid off. This credit is God, Allah, Buddha, motherhood, and apple pie, all rolled up into one. And you're a lucky sumbitch to get this credit from me. But some of you, even though I make a joke, but it's not funny. Some of you will say, well, if interest rates do this and price oil does this, I can maybe default. No. Why? You got your dick right there. You stomped on it. Why would you do that? Jesus Christ. I want to cry just thinking about it. So, and when we go through the bank interview, there's certain things you never say. One of which is there's no way that the loan that can never be paid off. Because then they put a check mark. And if they don't have a check mark, then they got to explain. Well, the kid was a little hesitant. He wasn't sure. He was worried about interest rates. And you'll give them things to worry about they hadn't even thought of. It's always, as the boomer that follows me around, Dan has never defaulted on a loan in his entire career, which is absolutely correct. But he hasn't always paid everybody back when they wanted to be paid back. In other words, I was late, but I paid everybody off, But I mean, it's important. And that's why your board members can't have any ugliness. Yeah.
How is okay, so I guess there is a point where there is an application.
Obligation from whom to?
It's not just a conversation and they give you the money. There's a
Correct. There's a written obligation.
Application.
Application, correct.
What names and who's?
Okay, now, in the beginning when you're warming up banks, it's nothing, remember? You're just asking them the lending parameter, yada, yada, yada. But then you have a board meeting, you got 3 deals, I just was in a board meeting in Germany, we reviewed 5 deals, we agreed to move forward with 4 of the deals. We incorporated the business, we did all the shit, the employment contracts, D&O insurance, that's directors and officers insurance, did all the shit that we're talking about at that meeting, okay, that long meeting in Munich. Then him, went to the banks that they had already warmed up and said, these are the deals and what term sheets can I get? Term sheet is a short-term obligation from the bank, 30 to sometimes 90 days, where they list, we're willing to do this under these terms, at this interest rates, at this payment schedule back, blah, 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 blah. It's a term sheet. They're normally, they expire in 45, sometimes 60 days. So, but now you've got, okay, and then you as the system works, you send an LOI, whatever, not an LOA like Margot said. You send an LOI out, and because in the LOI, even though LOIs are not binding, and as you heard, she tried to put a breakup fee in it. Very few people are going to agree to breakup fee. Means if the deal collapses, and it's their fault, which is normally their fault because the seller gets cold feet, he gets seller's remorse. They have to pay for all the fees. On small deals, 10, 20, 25 million, it's tough to get an exit fee, a breakup fee, excuse me. On big deals, it's the thing that keeps them from falling apart. If you got to pay $1 billion in breakup fee, you're going to find every way humanly possible to get the deal done. And so but getting back, you get a term sheet. Now you got a term sheet, and it says expires in 45 days. And then that term sheet it won't say it's 3 to 5 times EBITDA. It will be at whatever rate it is. And so now you know to go back. And when you make the offers in the LOI, you always make the offers in the LOI in a terms of EBITDA spreads. Never a dollar amount. Never a pound amount. Never exact amount. We're willing to pay 3 to 5 times EBITDA. They will lock in on 5. You're wanting to give 3. Now, due diligence is a euphemism for knocking the price down. Only one time in my almost 50-year career have I ever seen a price go up after due diligence. Because of all the shit, the ad backs and all the lies, cheating and their mistresses and this, that, and the other, is dropping the price. And let's say they're paying $400,000 each, a husband and a wife out in salary, when it's really a $75,000 job. Okay? Now, you can add back $325,000 because you're not going to be paying that anymore per person. But you still need a job. You need still somebody to be there. And probably that's a $75,000 job. So there will be ad backs, but I mean the price goes down. And you will, and there's negotiating, I've never seen a business plan fail on paper. I've never seen, anything fail on paper. It's when you sit down across from them. I just told one of the kids from the last seminar, he's got to fly there. I mean, you've got to do it in person. Of course, it's not convenient for him to fly right now. He's a doctor, as my dad. It's not convenient. I got surgery. I got this. I got rounds. All the shit they got. Well, I don't give a fuck. This whale is going to get off the fucking hook unless you go there. So somehow, like magic, his surgeries went away. His rounds, a fucking miracle. Allah intervened, I guess. I don't know what the fuck happened. Because they can make that stuff change. They can shift, You think a 70-year-old or 60-year-old doctor and you open your eyes and he's a heart transplant and the guy's 22 years old. Now that I don't need, They got a TV program about a young doctor he's autistic and he's, a teenager, but he's a physician. And I don't care if he's the fucking best. You're not touching my body. Give me some of the gray hair or bald head. I feel better. Okay, did I answer that question? Okay, anything else about the boxing? It was a good deal. I enjoyed it. Look at YouTube when the people think of you or don't think of you, but don't give too much credence to any of the things the shitheads say, because they're there. It's easy to flap your mouth through YouTube. I often wonder what some of these people look like. Not enough to do any research, but okay. I'll see my 5:30, 6 and 6:30. We're having dinner in what time is it? 5:20?
5:25.
Okay, pretty good. Any questions about anything? Tonight, you have no additional written homework, just the movies tonight. Anyway, you guys should give yourself a hand. Thank you. Bye, YouTube.